We are diving into Dead City Season 2, Episode 4. Welcome to Screens in Focus, the podcast where we talk about TV and movies. I'm Diana. Sam is back. Hi, Sam. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Oh my gosh. Episode 4, we're at the midway point.
I can't believe that.
I know, right? Wow. So many revelations in here, some fun moments. I mean, just a couple of fun moments. And one of them I want to talk about because they talk about things that they missed prior to the apocalypse, and they talk about snacks that they missed. So I thought that would be a perfect question of the day for us. And so, Sam and friends out there, I want to know, what food would you miss in an apocalypse? Okay, so everyone think about that. We're going to revisit this question later on, but oh man, when they were talking about that, I was like, oh my gosh, there would be so much stuff that I would miss.
It was hard to choose from.
It is. So we have time to think about it right now. There were so many twists and revelations. We were talking right before I pressed record here, and so we're going to get into those. But there was some emotional moments in here, and just kind of a question on who's in control. And we had some surprise confessions, some quiet unravelings. And so we're going to be digging into some of those layers. But I do want to start off with the twists or revelations that you saw. So what struck you, Sam?
One of the bigger scenes, I think, it was kind of like quiet, and I thought when Herschel talked with his mom about the firefly scene, or fireflies or The Last of Us, the lightning bug scene.
I knew what you meant.
I know, but I was like, that's not the word. And because I think they talked about it like an episode or 2 episodes ago about how she was bringing up this story from her point of view about how it was like this sweet memory for her and him. And then you find out this episode that he, like, there's more to it. He heard her crying. He felt for her. He gave her space. And then he wanted to create a little bit of a memory for her, or like a thing for her. And I think it's the first time she's recognizing that, like, he's grown. He's not a kid. I mean, he is a kid, but are you really a kid in the apocalypse? And I feel like he is just more adult, and she's realizing that. And I think it's going to change everything, because I think even though she knows what he's done and what he's, that kind of stuff, I don't think she was thinking about it from like, he knows what he's doing. And I don't think he even still knows what he's doing fully, but
yeah,
he's more aware than she thought. And the other one I thought was like, whoa, was when after they leave the MoMA and they're going, it is the MoMA, right? That they go to with Bruegel.
You know what? I was trying to figure out which place it was. I'm like,
me too.
trying to recognize it from the outside. So
I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure it's the Met. Anyway, when they leave there, in every other episode, Negan's been in front with the Croat, who's her driver, and she asked him to go in the back seat.
Yeah.
And I think it's because she recognized that he, in that whole scene, had like figured out what Bruegel was up to. He was slippery and slimy and kind of got his way, but also let Bruegel like kind of win. Like, not really, but he didn't make a big stink about it. He knows, he knows whatever. And that goes a long way with Bruegel and with her, I think. And I really liked that.
I know. Oh my gosh. See, so many twists and turns. I was so surprised at so many things. And so my mind is thinking this, and this. But I think one of the biggest ones is Negan telling Maggie about Herschel. Wow.
I couldn't believe he did it. I was happy he had done it. I don't know that she believed him.
I think she did, but didn't, right? Like, she didn't want it coming out of his mouth that he would say something about her son like that. But she knows deep down, because we've seen her pick up the clues along the way. It's just that it's hard to admit when it's your son that you're taking care of, and you learn this. And then when she sees the Dama in real life, like, she's all, oh, you're not just on a billboard, you are real. So one, he lied to me about that. And the fact that Negan knows this information and shares it with her, she knows, he knows. Like, he wouldn't just say that.
Mm-mm.
So he has to have some information. And so it's true, Maggie. It's so true. And I know it's so hard to get this revelation about your son, but yeah, I was so glad that even he thought to tell her in that point.
Mm-hmm. Can you imagine I don't know how many years we are into the apocalypse, but when Negan first comes around, and even when he's still in the community, and Maggie and Daryl want to kill him or whatever, if you would have told him and Maggie that like how many years in the future they'd be working together, and like Negan would trust like,
Right.
and Maggie would believe him at what he says, and maybe like no way, and it's like just kind of nice to see how they've evolved, and just their relationship is evolving. And when she said he killed my son's father,
Yeah.
there wasn't the same, there was still tone, there was still like anger, but it wasn't as much like sting to it.
Yeah.
I thought.
No, I totally agree. Oh gosh. Okay. So I want to respond to that. And then I want to respond to what you just said a minute ago. So
Yeah.
this, I think you're right. And part of it, I think, is because you're saying it in front of your son. So you don't want to make him emotional and put that weight on him that he already has and she knows he has. So I think that's why, but I liked that conversation with the three of them in the beginning because I felt like they were really working together. They weren't shielding Herschel from the conversation, which I thought was a really good thing to do. And plus, Herschel was
Mm-hmm.
sharing what he knew about Ginny. So I thought it was a great way to move the story forward and letting each other know what was happening and what each
Mm-hmm.
of them knew about other things. So I thought that was really good. And I'm trying to think of what you just said a minute ago about
How
would you.
Maggie and Negan like 10 years ago
Oh,
would never have worked
yes.
together. Yeah.
Yeah. So with Negan and Maggie working together, I love seeing that because that could happen in real life, and that could happen especially in an apocalypse because you end up needing each other and you have to evolve quickly. It's not the
Mm-hmm.
same as regular life where sometimes people go, their grave mad at each other, but here this is a matter of survival and living, and so sometimes you just have to get over things quicker
Yeah.
than you would otherwise because you might need each other. And maybe Negan in the real world wouldn't have, well, he wouldn't be the person that he was, but if he had done some horrific acts as a regular person, it would take him a lot longer probably to evolve too. And here
Mm-hmm.
he's got to evolve quickly. And now he has a wife and child, a son that he has to, that he understands what that is. And so he understands that whole family dynamic also. So yes, I'm so glad you brought all that up because it's so important.
The
um
apocalypse just kind of like puts your priorities like in a different order. Like you can still be pissed at that person,
yeah,
but you have to work together and you've got to get over it.
yeah,
Or at least like temporarily get over it, I think.
yeah, yeah. Oh man, I thought it was a fun revelation learning about the Dama and
Mm-hmm.
that Benjamin just kind of outer. I know where I recognize you. You're that critic, and this playwright wrote damning. I don't know the right word, play, exposition, whatever about you,
And
and
you
then
bit him.
and you bit him. Yes, that's
Like
crazy. And
she was a walker before the walkers were
I
around.
know. Oh my god, that just shows you, can you imagine here reading about that? Oh, critic bites playwright, because of his work or something. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. I thought it was just revealing that she was a critic and had control of people's livelihoods, and she used it. And here she is doing the same. So I liked seeing her backstory and who she was, and just that it carries over because sometimes we see people go a totally different direction, and
Mm-hmm.
here it seems like she's not. It's like she's just trying to be that same person that she was, kind of nasty and full of control.
And it's a different kind of power too, because you look at her and she's this slight, petite,
Mhm.
mild-mannered woman, and then you look at her reviews and you're like, oh my God, you could have ended that person's career. And then now she has the power to literally end like a person's life. And
Yeah.
that's like scarier. Like that kind of power is scarier to me than like Negan. Because like he has his like that, and his is more like bravado, and hers is just kind of like sneaky.
Yeah. Also, I was afraid for Benjamin because I'm like, oh, shut your mouth. Don't say anything. And then they put him back in the trunk.
Like my favorite thing is Benjamin is talking, and I pretty much wanted Negan to be like, so tell me more. He was like,
kind
oh
of
yeah, so tell me
was.
what you yeah. He was like, oh Dama, are you not perfect? And poor Benjamin, he's just like, do you think they're like, all right, get in the trunk, and he just like walks over there and climbs in.
He's all, not again. Not again.
I know.
Yeah, you get in here because we're going to tell you what we think and all this stuff. So, I just because we're talking about Benjamin and the Croat, do you know that I feel like I learned more about the Croat in this episode? I didn't realize quite how, I don't know, I felt like he was just some follower. And
Mhm.
I feel here I appreciated him, or even though he's a bad guy still, but I felt like when he noticed something was going on with with the walkers fighting that exhibition fight, and about how he
Mhm.
had won 26, and he's all, how could that happen? And you saw him notice it. And yes, he's so, emotional, as the Dama would say, but I just appreciated his role more in this episode. Because usually I'm like, oh, the Croat, let's,
He's kind of
move
like a
this
goof.
along. Yeah.
Yeah. He's kind of goofy and kind of like all over the place and just weird. And that like in this episode you got to see him kind of like he watches and he learns, and he, because he's so weird and out there, he's probably
Yeah.
really good at blending in and like watching and listening.
So, just a quick other revelations that we saw: Narvaez knowing Negan is alive.
Mhm.
I kept saying, Ginny, don't say it. Ginny, don't say it. Ginny, don't say it. And she didn't say it, but she knew. So that was interesting.
Yeah, and I feel like I don't really know like what she's gonna like do about it. Narvaez is like her speech about the governor like being like a fair and just person, but being allowed to like retaliate. I didn't like that. But I don't know.
Yeah.
Narvaez is just another one that I just can't. I don't know. There's something about her that I don't trust and I don't like.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I get
Yeah.
that.
Mm.
And then Bruegel he's odd, man. That whole thing with his old bodyguard Tommy, or what I can't remember.
Tony.
Tony, that's
Mm-hmm.
right. Oh man, that
I
was
just
so weird. And why didn't Tony do anything? He almost feels half dead already. I thought that was so bizarre.
I'm very curious what kind of like who Bruegel was before the fall, because if he needed a bodyguard, that that guy might have not like English might not have been his first language, because I was wondering why he
Mm,
didn't really talk much. He just kind
yeah.
of like said like one or two words here and there, and like I felt bad. So I assumed not right away, but pretty soon that that might have been a human, because the
Yeah.
thing was like punching, and I was like, that's not a like a
Yeah.
walker. But I didn't think it was going to be real. I was like, there's no way. Like, and like, it's just, hasn't anyone ever questioned that? It's for like,
I agree. And I
yeah,
also wondered when they were fighting in what, episode 2 or episode 1, whatever episode that was,
yeah.
when they were watching them. I kept saying, wait, is that walkers? Why does one feel like it's, or are they who are
Mm-hmm.
they? Because it
Yeah.
didn't seem entirely like walkers to me. It just
Mm-mm.
didn't. And
Mm-mm.
so you're right. Why wouldn't you question it, especially when you're losing
Because
items
I
and
think Christos lost the Met because of a fight.
yeah.
And I'm like, you lost that entire, like, and you weren't like, wait a second, can we like see the zombie's face? Like, We need proof of death.
Anyway, Kim Coates is amazing in this role as Bruegel, though. I'm intrigued by the way he talks.
He's having a blast.
Yes, it's like he's having a blast.
Hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about Maggie. So,
Yeah.
because is she emotionally spiraling or is she finding clarity?
I think she's finding clarity. I think she probably has exhausted herself by trying to like control everything, be there for everyone, be the everything, and just getting like shot down and things go wrong. I think it's just exhausting for her. And I think she's finally just like, I'm done. Like, I'm just gonna, she's not putting up her guard anymore. She's like allowing us and and Pearly and everyone else like a almost like a softer side to her and more like a caring side that's not her like yelling at them because they're being stupid, because they are being stupid, but
Yeah.
they're like a military, and they don't want a civilian to tell them what to do. And I think she rubbed them the wrong way when they first met, and I think it's nice that they're going to be able to like see this part of her. And I think she found clarity after being with Negan because he had told her about Herschel. And I think, even though I think she kind of assumed that that was kind of happening, I think like to have it confirmed is an entirely different like thing. And I think that's helping her to find clarity to see that, it's not fun to see a person that you love so much be kind of not good. And she probably feels on in some way it's a failure on her part because she's his mom and she taught him these things. And if and that's not fair and not true, but and it's just, I don't know. I hope it doesn't bite her in the butt. I don't know how it could, but I just always worry when like a harder character like lets their guard down.
Yeah.
I don't want it to be used against her or something.
Yeah. So I think it's a little bit of both because as a parent, you kind of do break down, especially inside, which is what she told Pearlie, like I
Mm-hmm.
may have this brave front about me, may seem hard, like a hard shell, but inside I'm like just terrified. And that's so true. But she's had to be strong and she has to continue to be strong. And having a child makes you stronger because you have to do that in front of your
Mm-hmm.
child, but at the same time sometimes it's hard to keep together. And I have appreciated the moments where where she's had someone to talk to about it, like
Mm-hmm.
Pearlie, because I think with Negan it's harder for her to talk with him because she doesn't care for him or has this "you killed my husband" hanging over his head. But with Pearlie, she can talk to him about it because he does have children, two
Mm-hmm.
girls that he is worried about and trying to take care of them. So it's easy for her to identify with him and to talk about those moments. So I really enjoyed both of them being able to talk about so many things. And when they were walking and Herschel says, "Hey, so many places. Oh, he grew up here." And then that's when they get into the conversation about, "Oh, what do you miss?" And it was good to hear about what each of them missed. And of course she brings up the KitKat bar, and then she said 3 years in, and then she talks about that moment, and she hesitates because she's thinking about Glenn. And
Mm-hmm.
I personally, my eyes welled up instantly because I was feeling what she was saying, and I was imagining, and of course Glenn being one of my all-time favorite characters, I was all, oh
Yeah.
my god. For everyone that watches us that has that history understands, and so that's just such a weight. It was such an emotional moment.
It was like she was happy but sad. It's like
Yeah.
when you remember a memory of someone who's no longer here, but it's a happy one,
Yeah.
there's always a bit of sadness there.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought it was, yeah. So it was nice to see her that moment and for him to see it, because whether he should see it or not, I think he should. He needs to see his mother that way. And just like him hearing her cry, when
Mm-hmm.
he tells her what he saw, I mean, that's real life. You hear your parents mourn people that they love and lost and or having trouble with or whatever it might be. So that just helps you to realize your parents are not that that's being perfect or not perfect, but everybody has moments. Everybody
Mhm.
does. And you need to know that, yeah, your parent has moments too. So, yeah. So I think that it's been a real struggle for her. And I love that we're seeing her parent here and having struggles and having really a lot of strength too,
Mhm.
because it is both for me. You had already touched upon it earlier, but her relationship with Negan, I feel like this is what this whole series, of course, was about
Mhm.
their journey. And I just really felt it because when he jumped into the cage when the walker, where he thought both two walkers were in there, and because he was trying to let her go by. I mean, think about that.
Mhm.
That's saying a lot. I mean, you're putting your life at risk to help somebody else, and it's somebody who hates your guts.
Mhm.
So, but he's trying to protect her and with telling her about Herschel. I mean, he cares about Herschel, but he's telling her so that she can protect herself and Herschel along the way because he knows what the Dama can do.
And I think him like protecting her in both of those ways shows her that he's changing. And maybe the guy who did that thing to Glenn 15 years ago is a different person. And you can't, like, you don't have to forgive or you don't have to forget, but it would be better for the both of you if you forgave him.
I think that's the whole journey. I think that's
Mm-hmm.
where she's headed and she needs to head because she's also losing Herschel because of it,
Yep.
because it's always a divide. But I think we also had to see her go through this because if she just came on to the second episode of the first season, everybody
Mm-hmm.
would have been pissed off, right?
Oh, I'd have been pissed
Yeah.
because it's not earned. You have to earn it.
Yeah. Yeah. You have to earn it. And so I think through all of this, she is seeing it. So, and I think Negan is also uh redeeming himself through us as an audience seeing that too, right, over and over again. I mean, sure, a lot of people really love Negan anyway, but when it comes to Glenn and when I'm never going to forgive him for what he did. I have seen that episode again and what leads up to that episode and what he did and the type of person he was, and it's hard to forget that. When I'm reminded of that, oh my gosh, I am so mad at him, and I
Mm-hmm.
just really dislike him a lot, a lot. But now it starts to soften when I see, moments like this and that he's
Mm-hmm.
helping them. So I don't know.
Because I don't like it. I don't like that he killed Glenn. Glenn was one of like my favorite
Yeah,
characters, but I feel like it's a product of the apocalypse and not okay. Never okay to do that, but he's a product of his environment. The world went to shit. There were things eating people. I don't think it's okay, but he, people can change, you know?
yeah,
You're in a different environment. It's been
yeah,
years.
yeah,
I also think because he's helping her and it seems like it's not like he's just being nice to everyone else. He's like, I don't know, redeeming himself more, it seems.
yeah. Well, it was when she came and she did talk to him and they were together there, she seemed to soften just a little bit when he said he was doing it for some people or whatever it was. And then she says, "Oh, Annie and Joshua." And you could see her face kind of like, because, she probably doesn't wish them any harm
Mm-mm.
just because that's Negan's wife and son. She may not like him, but she doesn't dislike them. That's what I gather from that. So, yeah.
I feel like even if Maggie didn't, even if she wasn't like softening towards Negan, I feel like the fact that he has a wife and a son and they're heading like their way, I feel like Maggie would help to protect him for them because she wouldn't want them to grow up how her and Herschel
Yeah.
have.
Yeah. Exactly.
And that makes her like an amazing character because
Yeah.
not everyone would do that.
Yeah.
Because, but she's thinking of others and that's what Maggie does.
Yeah. All right. We're talking about Negan anyway, so let's continue to talk about him and his position. And what do you think Negan actually wants now? we know he wants to protect his family and he's supporting Maggie, but is there more to his motivations?
I think I think he wants power, but only in the sense that it would mean security for him and his family. I think that is a major concern for him, probably always now. And I think part of him probably probably misses being in charge and all that kind of stuff. But I think he's changed enough that he would be different and it would be for the better of the people. I do think he would be an okay leader. It would depend on, like, if he and Maggie could rule together, amazing, because she would be like the law and order and be like, no, Negan, you're being dumb, don't do that. And he would bring her out of her, he would make her fun. That's what you need in leaders, is fun, I guess. I don't know. But I do think it's for others. I think he sees like how the Dama treats people and he doesn't like it. I don't know why, because he treated them worse, like, in his past.
Well, I think he's a totally different person. So I think his motivations are clearly different now, and I think it's because he has a one, he's trying to redeem what he has done in the past, because I don't think he sees that person anymore. I feel like Judith, Carl, all those kids, um, seeing them, knowing them, changed him. I think all anybody, a youth that has been in his life, have helped change him. Ginny, even though we haven't seen too much of it, he was taking care of her for a while. Herschel. So there's
Mm-hmm.
just a soft spot with kids, and now that he has his own son, he has to be an example for his son. So I think that is his motivation. I think that's where it has shifted for him, because he also, not just for Maggie and Herschel, but with Bruegel, that guy that he saw, he could have killed that guy or let his walker get it, and he would have been all, oh, you won fair and square, this guy's dead. But he saw that he was human. He saw the guy's eyes, and he
Mm-hmm.
thought, he couldn't do it. He doesn't know this
Mm-mm.
human being, but
Mm-mm.
he couldn't do it, which is so different than how he has ever been. And even with the Dom and all these people who would be like, kill him, get rid of him, whatever, he wasn't doing it. So to me,
Mm-mm.
he's very changed from what he was and what he wants. So he saved that guy, even though he didn't know him. So I don't know. I kind of feel like that says a lot about him.
But did he act, because at the end of the episode he gets killed by a Bruger, so maybe
Yeah.
Negan didn't really, but I don't think it was an accidental, it was a whoopsie death. Because if Bruegel didn't realize that Negan and the Kurat knew, then he probably wouldn't have killed that guy.
Well, yeah, but they probably didn't know what he was gonna. I guess I don't know what they didn't think that far ahead. Like, oh, Bruegel's gonna kill him now, but I don't know.
No, but I bet you that's because I want to know what he whispered into his ear, and so I wonder if he was like, if you don't like go along with this, I'll expose you or something.
Right?
Because Negan's
Yeah,
kind of a yeah.
yeah. I'm sure
So
he
I
did use that. Yeah.
but I
So,
do think that, like, I don't know.
mm.
I still feel like it's Negan's fault that guy died a little bit.
I don't know if it's his fault, but it's through his doing. I mean, but like I said, he could have let him die. He could have just won that way. But no, he probably did want more control, right? Because I feel if it was Negan just being manipulative, he would have given that smug look that he gives, like that smile. You know what I mean? Kind of like, oh, I know what
Mhm.
he's doing here. But it was more like, oh my God, you're human. At
Mhm.
this moment, I don't want to, kill you or let you die. But then, yeah, of course, he did use it to his advantage. And of course, it wasn't at his hands. The guy didn't
Mm-mm.
have to kill his bodyguard. He just chose to not be exposed. Woo, man, yeah. So there's a lot of control going over here. Who has control and what they have control over. So yeah, just everybody has their hands in it. Okay, can I just say I was surprised. Bruegel could have, with all his people, could have just killed the Dama, the Croat, and Negan,
Oh, I
right?
thought that too at one point. I was like,
He could have just wiped them all out. Oh, let me go. I know where your methane's at.
mm-hmm.
Chop, chop, chop. Here we go. But he didn't. So
Mm-mm.
I thought that was interesting too.
I agree with that.
All righty. Like, who might be steering the bigger game here? Okay. So, through this episode, I did have a question, and I'm going to ask you this question. So, in this bigger picture, can we really rebuild? So, are they rebuilding or are they repeating? And do we romanticize the old world, or is the fear of the unknown that keeps pulling us back?
So I think for people to truly rebuild, they would have to change some things. And they're not really changing anything. I don't know what they'd have to change, like the way that they govern, the way that the people form their groups. I don't really know. So I think they're repeating. We keep trying to go back to what was lost and what they used to have, which they're never going to have again. They're never, at least I don't, unless everyone can just work together and be friends. Unless that happens, I don't think they're going to be able to ever truly rebuild, because you can't get electricity. There's no running water. Like there's just too much like destruction and damage, I think. Um, that doesn't mean that they can't rebuild, like, or they can't still have like a safe space and have like settlements, but it's never going to be what it was. And I don't even know that society should go back to what it was, because, you know, the world's nasty sometimes. And I
Yeah.
think it's like a reset. And, you know, maybe in 100, 200 years, maybe they'll have electricity again, but who knows? I do think I think it's both. I think it's, you can romanticize the old world, but also be afraid of the unknown.
Yeah.
Like I was thinking about like how whenever I'm stressed or something, like I would go to music, and I love music. It's something I go to all the time. And I don't know that that would be something I'd be able to do in the apocalypse. And it's like I would probably obsess over that, never being able to hear music again. And I think that would prevent me from being able to move forward. Instead of focusing on, I don't have my iPhone, my iPad, whatever it is, I could go play the piano or like go find some other music. And it'd be really
It's
hard to not do that though.
Yeah, it's hard. And it really made me think about this and question it. And it was Herschel, right, saying this, because Herschel hasn't experienced any of this.
Mm-hmm.
And when we hear Maggie and Pearlie talking about the alarm that you would pull and just old things that we are used to, not having them anymore and sounding really frivolous now and not being able to explain why or how come. And Herschel saying, "Oh, why would you want to go back to, people fighting each other and killing each other?" And of course, they're doing that now too, because that's all people ever do when people
Mm-hmm.
want power. But there are some things that I would love. And just like you mentioned, music. And that is why that episode, when they killed Victor, was so heartbreaking to me, and it hit me so hard, because I can't imagine not having him play that music, even if it wasn't that music, even if he created new songs to play. Just
Mm-hmm.
hearing him be able to play that music, it's just that beauty that you hear. And look at Herschel drawing. That's a beauty
Mm-hmm.
in itself. That is soothing in itself. That's, and going to the museum, and he's probably never been there, to see these works of art. I wonder what that means to him, to think, oh,
Mm-hmm.
somebody, so long ago created this stuff. This is so cool. So, yeah, do you romanticize so much of the past? Yeah, yeah, you do. But I don't know, what is progress and how do you move forward? And somebody has to have a vision, I guess, and you have to follow the right vision of what that
Mm-hmm.
is. And that's the hard part of rebuilding. So, whew, man, I don't know. That's a hard one. It just really got
Mm-hmm.
me to thinking, though. I think it was Herschel bringing it up. And uh, so, and with the Dama saying, oh, let's get rid of the old and start with the new. So, mm, interesting question. Okay, I want to get to our lightning round gut
Sure.
reactions of things that we saw. So, in this episode, what bothered you most?
I want to know what's going on in the park because everyone seems to be afraid to go into the park. And I don't know if it's just because of the park people or if the animals, if there's walkers. I just want to know. I just
Yeah.
want a little more clarity. I hear the monkeys, and I feel like if why aren't they bothering them? Like monkeys are wild and they're curious creatures, but maybe they're like far enough away. I don't know.
And we heard something. We heard
Mm-hmm.
something. Are they going to show us what we heard? Like, what was the
Yeah.
purpose of hearing that if you're not going to show it to us? So I think they might show it to us. Okay, what bothered me is there's not enough zombies.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we saw them fight in a cage thing. That's no. We need zombies. Like, no one is dealing with zombies. They're all
Mm-mm.
just, it's just moving the story of characters along, which I appreciate, but I still need that zombie-ness.
Mm-hmm.
There's got to be some that get out. There's got to be people that just die and, happen upon you. So I'm missing my zombies. So I'm bothered by that. Okay.
But maybe they run them all up and they're all in the methane.
That's true too. But still, come
I know.
on. I want to see something. I mean, there's dead Walking Dead cities. Even if they were coming at you and then you had to use them. Or even like how they gathered them up and we
Mm-hmm.
saw that. Just
Yep.
something with them.
Yep.
Okay. So what's a WTF moment that stuck with you?
When the Dama and Maggie like locked eyes, I was like, it got like chills. I was like, oh no, because they're gonna have a showdown, and it's gonna be bad. It's gonna be nasty, and I'm looking forward to it because the Dama needs to get hers, but not looking forward to it at the same time.
Yeah.
What about for you?
Oh, it's definitely when Herschel and the Dama, when they locked eyes. Oh man, this is that damn Dama again.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, wow, you are just standing there in front of her. And she's like, oh, what a pleasant surprise, or whatever she says to him. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And then it took him so long to get back and he lied to his mom. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, oh my gosh, she better listen
And
to
she knows
Negan.
now. She
Yeah.
knows that he's officially like lying to her, and it's gonna cause him some issues, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. It was interesting when she came and hugged him when he was late. And for a moment, they show her kind of walk up to him and you're not sure what she's going to do or say. And then she hugs him, which is what she has to do. But oh my gosh, what's going to happen next?
I
Oh my God.
know.
Okay. What are you looking forward to?
I want to learn more about the groups. I feel like they were introduced in episode 1 or 2, and we haven't really been back. Like we learned about Bruegel a little bit, but even that, yeah, I want to learn more about them.
I do want to learn about Christos's group, so that'll be interesting. But I also want to see Negan use Lucille.
I
And
know.
there also, I think there was a preview where we saw Maggie holding Lucille.
Ooh,
So,
spicy.
so yep, that's what I'm looking forward to. All right, let's get back to our question of the day. Our question of the day is, what's the one food you'd miss the most in the apocalypse?
I think I would miss like some sort of fancy pastry, like something that's got a ton of butter, like a rich pastry cream, a bunch of layers, like takes you like hours to make. Because I do bake and I'm not like great at it or anything, but I can bake like cakes and cupcakes and cookies, and I haven't been able to like broach that yet. So that's what I would miss. It's like the most like gluttonous thing ever. Just like raspberry with the decadence, all that. And maybe
So
a cup of
good.
coffee to go with that
I
pastry.
know, right? Well,
I genuinely worry about coffee in the apocalypse because like we don't have the environment for it.
there's so many things to miss. When she said jelly donut, I'm not a jelly donut fan, but I do like donuts. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, and it made me think about pastries and cakes and just, yeah, all that yummy goodness that you may not be able to make. So I was right there along with her. If it was a donut, I just even like old fashioned glazed donuts. And I'm like, that
Ooh.
would be so yummy. And I would miss that. If it was a piece of real food, and this sounds maybe minimal to people, but chips and salsa and guacamole just I just need that, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking you might be able to have that somehow though, depending on what they grow there.
Yeah.
But
I feel like if my
yeah.
husband can grow tomatoes in the house, you can probably grow it outside in Virginia.
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking like the chips, the frying them.
Oh,
Oh my gosh, that would
yeah.
be so yummy.
Mm.
There's so much to miss.
You're making me hungry.
It's better than fried rat and a carrot.
That should have
Oh
been
my
a
god.
WTF moment. The rat.
Oh
I'm
my
too much like
gosh.
a small animal lover, so I would be like,
Oh.
I
Yeah.
couldn't.
Yeah. I just realized the Dama pushed it away and I realized why, because she has her little maze with her little,
Oh,
you know.
yeah. Rats are so cute. Anyway.
All right. So, friends out there, what about you? What snack would you want and miss during an apocalypse? You can comment wherever you're listening or watching us, or you can comment on our social media. You can get to all of that in our show notes. Also, if you want to call us, you can do that. And our phone number is 669 223 8542 because we want to hear from you. All right. I think we've wrapped up this episode, right, Sam? Is there anything
Yep.
else you want to add or you're good? You're
I'm
good?
good. Mm-hmm.
We're good. We're going to get to our TV and movie recommendations. I do want to remind people that The Last of Us ended and Sam and I have a little bonus episode. So check that out where we'll talk about what we thought about the finale. So please be sure to check that out. Also, Handmaid's Tale. I am putting out a podcast episode on that. So look for that one too. But right now, we're going to get to our other TV and movie recommendations. So, what are you watching, Sam?
It's a TV show from 2018. It's called Vanity Fair. It stars Olivia Cooke, who was in House of the Dragon, and Tom Buchanan, who was in Murder on the Orient Express. And it's based off of William Thackeray's novel. It just follows this like scrappy English woman. She like tries to navigate like high society during the French Revolution, I think. Anyway, it's just really fun. I love a period piece. It's really fun. And then I've been watching Nine Perfect Strangers. It's in second season on Hulu. Phenomenal cast. Murray Bartlett. I would watch him in anything. He is so charismatic. He's so much fun. His character is bonkers. Are you watching that show too?
I just started it. How many episodes? Two?
Two. Yeah.
Two. The first season, I thought was okay. It wasn't as good as I was hoping it would be because I love Melissa McCarthy and I was just couldn't
Mm-hmm.
wait to see it. I thought it was watchable.
That's fine.
But I do want to watch it and I started it, but I've been distracted.
Mm.
So I do want to watch it. I'm going to, but I've only seen little tiny pieces so far. So
Okay.
everybody, yeah.
And then over the weekend, I saw The Thunderbolts, which came out a month or two ago, but I just hadn't been able to get to it. Oh my God. If Marvel could just like that movie felt like it was getting back to like good Marvel. Like the characters were developed enough that I felt like the stuff was happening. I cared. The plot's great. There's a lot of comedy. I cried. It made me tear up because it talks about like heavy stuff, and I'm not gonna talk about it, but and then it like brings you back up, and then it ties in like the next couple of phases or whatever, and it's really good. But I'll pretty much watch anything Florence Pugh's in. I think she's, I don't know, just a
Yeah.
joy to watch.
Yeah.
David Harbour is hilarious. Everyone was really good. But yeah.
I haven't seen it yet, but I am looking forward to seeing it. So I can't wait. And I love that you loved it. So that makes me want to watch it more. So awesome.
Like I wanted to go home and like watch it again because I was like, I know there's stuff I missed, and I haven't felt that
Yeah.
way about a Marvel
In a while. Yeah. Awesome. I love it.
I know.
All right. So I watched Sirens on Netflix. Did you watch
So
it?
good. I watched the whole thing. Those twists and turns.
I know, so good. I really enjoyed it. There was just like revelations. Like I thought it was going one way and it went another. And it just you weren't sure where it was going to go. And Julianne Moore is in it, Megan Fahey and Millie Alcock. Is that her name? Millie Alcock and Kevin Bacon. All so good.
Kevin Bacon can do no wrong.
I know. Oh man, he is in The Bondsman. Did you see that? It's a
I want to
series.
watch it. How is it good?
It's good, but the thing, and it does tie up, but I just read, or someone just put it out, that there's not going to be a second season. I'm so
That's
bummed.
so sad.
So, but it's good. It's good.
Okay,
I like it. So it's a good one. So,
we're gonna watch it when I'm like
oh
up
yeah.
next week by my surgery.
Yeah. So, yes, you're right. Kevin Bacon could do no wrong. And
I read an
oh,
article
go ahead.
about the show, and they were specifically like they were interviewing him
Yeah.
about his character Peter and how he's not like the typical like bad boy billionaire. There's a subtleness to him where you're like, I don't know. Like I know he's a billionaire, and no billionaires are good really because they've gotten some places, whatever. But he is very likable, and it was like shocking when the when he would like change his like demeanor and get like not mean but like not as nice and not as like you know and it was like scary, and you could see how like he did become a billionaire.
Yeah. True. True.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So anyway, so I did see two movies, and one is a huge movie, and it was Mission Impossible Final Reckoning. I loved it so much. Tom Cruise is incredible. I cannot believe the stunts. I was so amazed because I knew he did them all, and my mouth was open. I was scared for him. I know he survives the movie in real life. He survives the
Mm-hmm.
movie, and I'm afraid for him. I'm like, Tom, please, you're scaring the shit out of me because I'm afraid you're going to do something and an accident is going to happen and you're going to be no more. Okay. We need you to make more movies. So just
No, there's another let another person come in and make movies. Tom Cruise needs to retire.
I just think he needs to pull back on doing all his own stunts and the things that he pushes his body to do. It's just
He's
crazy to
bonkers.
me. It's just crazy.
He has like
All
no
right.
fear.
Yeah. Well, because he says I learn everything there is to know about whatever I'm doing. So I'm like, okay, all right. So anyway, I enjoyed it. There were critics that were like, well, this is that. Well, you know what? Just go watch it. It's fun. It's fun. Okay. Just get your popcorn, go watch it. And just don't go in, thinking every piece is going to be perfection. It's like, well, all the action was perfection, but they had thoughts on the story and all that. So I don't know. I liked it. It was good. And I also watched Fountain of Youth on Apple TV Plus with John Krasinski and Natalie Portman. And this is kind of like, they're trying to find the Fountain of Youth for some billionaire who has hired them to find it. And then, of course, they have all these people on their tail trying to get to it too. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what type of movie it is. So, I mean, it was a good watch. It was a decent watch. So
Mm-hmm.
I would recommend it if you just want to be, entertained and watch something. So that is what I have for you. Sam, thank you so much for your recommendations and all your input on Dead City. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you as always. This is always like a highlight of my week. I look forward to chatting with you.
Thank you. I do too. I love it. And friends out there, we are so glad that you joined us. And we hope we gave you some insights, a chuckle, something to think about. Remember to follow Screens in Focus at screensinfocus.com. And, we would love to hear from you. Remember to comment or call us on anything about this episode. We would love to hear from you. And remember to keep watching, keep exploring, and keep those screens in focus. We will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.